What was it like in your family growing up? Like, were people okay with nudity? And
they don't really go that far.
do you have closed-minded views on sex as a result of your parents not showing, tits and dong and all that stuff?
I don't really have a baseline for what you'd consider closed-minded.
Have you ever been in like an orgy situation?
A couple of times, yeah.
How many people?
It was like a group thing.
6 or 7?
It was a group.
What percentage men, women?
2/3 men, 1/3 women.
Do you think your dad was ever done anything like that? Like been in orgies with a bunch of guys like you were?
I wasn't with the guys. They were there, but I mean...
Well, you said it was mostly
that's a
men,
pointless
though.
distinction.
Okay.
From what we're talking about. There were naked men there, too.
But you said it was like an orgy of dudes.
There
but
were
also
other dudes there,
yeah.
but it was like... What I'm saying is it was like a bunch of dudes that like surrounded
like an orgy
woman.
with like a bunch of dudes or whatever.
Yeah, like one woman here, one woman there, things like
Okay,
that.
so there were a few girls, but majority was dudes.
Yeah.
You're saying, yeah.
That's just who goes to those things.
What things? Like a bathhouse?
It wasn't a bathhouse. It was just like an orgy,
right?
Basically, like it's mostly men who go to them. But even if
it depends on where they are. If it's at the bathhouse, it'll be mostly men. But
even if it's hetero, like it's mostly men who go to those things.
So you're saying that you essentially were like, let's go to this orgy. You showed up, it was a bunch of dudes, and you're like, yeah, whatever, let's just do it anyway. Yeah, let's not ruin a good night or whatever. We sort of
pretty much. But anyway, what were you asking?
I guess we're relating that back to America's uptight values on sexuality. I guess it sounds like you are having orgies with all these dudes or whatever. So it doesn't sound like you would have as much of uptight values about sexuality.
Sometimes kids have a tendency to rebel against what their parents do.
So if you were saying that maybe your kids wouldn't want to have an orgy with a bunch of dudes?
Maybe, maybe not. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't particularly encourage it, but like I wouldn't necessarily say don't do that either.
The orgy with a bunch of dudes.
You keep emphasizing the bunch of dudes.
Am I mischaracterizing what the orgy was?
There were a bunch of men with one woman, but it was technically a bunch of dudes.